Hello, everybody. Welcome to Set Your Day with Dr. J. I'm so excited that you joined me. I'm going to tell you about today's broadcast. You're going to want to stick around because my wife and my daughter used to laugh at me. They used to laugh at me when I told them that I was going to be rich and successful and prosperous. And yet I was driving around in a Ford Escort. So, hey, we've been talking all week, right? We've been talking about Jesus knew that every great achievement requires a willingness on our side to begin small. So that's what we're talking about. Thank you. Come on in and join us. Like, share up top. Uh, make sure you hit the share button, okay? And then down below, make sure you comment, say hi, tell us where you're from. Let us know what really struck you out of the day, what helped you today. I'm all about helping you, empowering you with something positive in the morning so that you can go throughout your day and perform at your best. So excited. I'm so excited today. And I want to just let you know that as you're joining on, I don't want you to forget about this financial fast track. If you're listening and you haven't got your copy yet, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Bonnie and I, we bought the first copies ourselves from our printer, and we're giving them away. We're giving them away. You pay shipping and handling. That's all we ask. And then I threw in one of my coaching bonuses that I use to coach some of my top level clients, and I give it to you. I take you through this whole coaching process of helping you discover like the number one break that's stopping you from taking your finances to the next level. So even if you don't like to read, if you get this book and you go through that, we call it fast coaching experience, man, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna change your life. And then once you go through that class, you're gonna say, man, I better make sure I read this book and get dive down into it. So make sure you get that. You just go to financialfasttrack.com or down below, just comment book. My fast track robot will take you straight there. Another cool thing that I want to tell you about for next week. Next week, man, I'm going to teach you next week. I'm doing a webinar. You just go to 83kwebinar.com. And if you're serious about figuring out how can I change my finances totally around, what's the vehicle that I need to be able to scale how much income I'm making in my life, you're going to want to join me next week. Just go to 83kwebinar.com. We've been posting about it and you can get special access, man. I'm going to break this down to giving you the information of literally how I turned my whole financial situation around where I was $180,000 in credit card debt. I owed more on my card and was worth living in my mother-in-law's house. I'm going to show you how I turn things around. And I believe every person, if they'll follow what I teach next week, it's going to be transformational. So make sure you get your VIP ticket, and we'll get you the links and the access that you need to be able to participate in that program. Okay. Now let's get into our talk because I've been saying all week that it's important, right, that we understand that the natural process of building anything, becoming anything, right? The natural process is that you have to be willing to begin small. Literally everything in life starts small and it evolves. But the the thing is it doesn't stay small forever, but you got to be willing to start before you can get big. And you've got to go through the season of what I call contradiction. You say, what are you talking about? Yeah. You got to go through this season where you see a big future for yourself, but then you set back and you look at your life and you're like, wait a minute. I see that that God wants to do some amazing things in my life. I get it that God wants me to go to my promised land. That I get it that God doesn't want me in Egypt being a slave and not even having enough to take care of myself and my family. And by the way, if you're living middle class, just a little side note, if you're living in the middle class life, if you're making under $300,000 a year, you're the new poor. You're not making enough. That's why you keep getting in debt, because there's like a lifestyle you want to live that is not unrealistic, right? But yet you're not making enough money to live just just a normal lifestyle where you have a nice house, a nice car to drive that's safe for your family, right? A place where your kids can go to a good school, and you have a nice clean home, an environment that you can raise your kids in, and just to live that lifestyle and to be able to build any serious wealth, you got to make $300,000 a year. And unfortunately, to live that lifestyle, most people like don't realize, because their eyes not on their money, that most people, 80% of the people in America, that is 80% of people in America, right? They don't realize that every year they're actually short $2,000 to $5,000 a year to be able to make it, to be able to live the lifestyle that you want, which is not unrealistic. But if your eye's not on the money, all of a sudden you're like, wow, where did all this debt come? Well, you've been living poor. What's poor mean? It means to be without. Even though I had this one of my friends over the other day. He makes $125,000 a year, but he's still not able to do all the things that he wants to do. Why? He's got the nice house. He's got a pretty nice. He's got him and his wife have two pretty nice cars. They're they can go out to eat where they want. They're living a good life, but it's not like he's extravagant. He wears shorts, he wears t-shirts. He by no stretch of the imagination, he's sure not like Dr. J, right? And all my crazy shirts and everything. And yet, you know, he's he can't do everything he wants to do. And so there's a season, right, where you're believing God for big things. And yet you got to realize, wait a minute, I'm in this small place, but I'm believing for something bigger. And I'm here right now, but I want this. And when you start small, you got to remember, right? I've got to live out this season of contradiction before I get to my promised land. I've got to go through the wilderness. I've got to go through this thing of, man, God wants me to taste the grapes. God wants me to go into a place where He's provided houses that I didn't build, a place flowing with milk and honey, a place where God wants to give me the best. But I got to live the contradiction. That's why I said in the intro of this that there was a season where my wife and I were like making fun of me. That's right. Back in the day, back when I started, back when God showed me a picture of me traveling all over the world, speaking in stadiums in Asia, of all places. I'm like, how, what? Asia? I mean, I was uh, raised in a poor home in the middle of a farm area in Huntertown, Indiana. I mean, where's Huntertown, Indiana? That's right. You don't know where Huntertown, Indiana is at. And I flunked kindergarten. My teachers told me I was a slow learner, so I believed I was stupid. So basically, I could barely read. When it was all said and done, I could barely read, barely write by the time I was 23 years old. But then God gave me this vision of my future. God will always give you a revelation that's bigger than your situation. Oh, my. God will always give you a revelation that's bigger than your situation. But that revelation requires you to live past the contradiction. I saw myself prosperous. I saw myself speaking all over the world. A wannabe farm boy. We weren't even farmers. We just lived all around them. And and so when my wife and I, after I gave my life to God, I saw this vision, and so I went to Bible school, and I started preparing myself. I started getting myself ready because I knew God wanted to use me in a significant way. Then after I finished Bible school, the superintendent of the organization I was part of, he wanted me to go up to this church to revive it and to save it. It had 20 little old ladies in it in the middle of nowhere. Trillacoochee, Florida. Where is that? Trillacoochee, Florida. Oh, the name is even what? You never heard of that neither, have you? What am I trying to say? Huntertown, Indiana. Trillacoochee, Florida. No name places, small places. And what I'm trying to tell you is that God births big people in small places. Jesus in a manger. Isn't that guy from Nazareth? God was choosing where he would put mankind. He didn't choose the biggest planet in the universe. He chose one of the smaller ones. God takes small things and makes them big. But you got to be willing, right? You got to be willing to live in the contradiction, to move through the contradiction that even though you're small now, you're going to be big. And so here I was, pastoring this little church. I had a white Ford Escort with blue seats in it. And I'm driving this Ford Escort. I'm driving it proud, man. I was in my 20s. I was driving it proud. And I would stand up at the pulpit and I'm preaching, God wants to prosper you. God wants to make you rich. God, God, God wants you to have new houses. God wants to bless your life. God wants to use you in a big way. I mean, I'm preaching all this stuff. And I didn't even realize it. I was just like, I was new and growing, and I'm, before that, I thought God wanted me to be poor. So I'm reading all these scriptures. Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. I'm reading this stuff thinking, what? Jesus became Jesus became rich so that you could become poor. So Jesus became poor through his poverty. You can become rich. I'm like, whoa, what? What? I'm discovering all this stuff. I'm getting up there. I'm preaching it, man. I'm preaching it. And I'm with a bunch of poor people, and I'm preaching it, preaching it. I was in my Ford Escort. I looked like I was rich. These people are so poor. People are so poor. But I was preaching it. And one day it's like after a year of preaching on prosperity to these people, because it was like the poorest area in the state of Florida. Honestly, I mean, some of these people had outhouses to go to the bathroom in. I'm not kidding. Some of these people had no floors. There's no floor in their house up in this area that we lived, that we went to. I mean, it was poverty. Now it's preaching the good news. God, good news for the poor. He wants to prosper you. He wants to bless you. I was preaching it. I was preaching. My wife and daughter laughed at me. We're sitting at lunch. And he says, you're funny, I'm like, what? And they're laughing at me, kidding around. You're sitting here preaching about prosperity and you're driving a Ford Escort. I, I, well, yeah. You see the Escort. You see the Escort, baby. I see my dream car. I see the biggest Mercedes that Mercedes makes. That's what I see. And when I get in my car, I've learned to live in my future today. And when I get in my car, I'm not looking at this as this is a Ford Escort. I'm looking at this like it's a top level Mercedes. That's why I keep it clean. I keep my car clean, girl. I keep it clean. I keep the outside clean. I'm treating it like the car I want in the future, because I am in the future. You just can't see it yet. They're like, what? Here he goes again. Here he goes again. What is he talking about? And that's how I lived it out. And now it's funny. It's funny. It's funny. Yesterday I got a new car, and eventually I got that Mercedes, the Mercedes 550S, which is the big daddy of Mercedes, AMG package. And I've had that car now for, I don't know, 7 years. It was, or something, 6, 7 years. I'm driving around that car. I'm like, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. And it's a really, really nice car. That was like the dream car, right? And and then my wife was kidding me yesterday. She's like, "You're driving around a 7-year-old car." I'm like, yeah, but I like it, man. I like it, man. Yeah. She's like, yeah, you trade that thing in. And she kind of chuckled. She laughed. She's still making fun of me. Yeah, you driving around, talking about prosperity and wealth and all that. You driving around a 7-year-old Mercedes. What's wrong with you? I, I, I mean, because, and you got to understand it. To me, the possessions aren't. It's not about possessions. It's about potential. It's about me manifesting my potential. And so don't get messed up, because to me, it's like you set big goals for yourself, that you realize God wants you to have the best of the best. And you set big goals for yourself, and goals force you to grow. I can't stay where I'm at. Like, if I didn't have a goal for the Mercedes 550S and I'm in my Escort, I don't have to grow to, I don't have to grow into anything if I set little tiny goals. So the thing that I want to encourage is that, like, right, is like a lot of people can look at me now, right, and see the cars that I drive and see maybe some cool watches or cool clothes I wear or whatever. But you have to go back and realize there was a man who was willing to start small but dream big. There was a man who was willing to start small but dream big, but not be satisfied with small. Last week we talked about lead us not into temptation, but temptation to stay comfortable where we are, to not move into change. I like that car. It was hard on me yesterday, and to be honest with you, it was hard on me. I not only did I trade in one of the cars that was like my dream car, I switched Mercedes to BMW. uh, because uh, because I really liked, they call themselves the ultimate driving machine. I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, the ultimate, man. I like, well, that's cool. And then my wife was making fun of me. She says, Mercedes is an old fogey's car. Like, BMW is the young man's car. I'm like, and you're going after young people. Stop driving old stuff. This is the wife I got to put up with, right? I like I like Mercedes. I'm a Mercedes guy. See, we don't like change, do we? We don't. It's like, I'd rather stay in my comfort zone. But it's like, no, I got to keep pressing on, and I got to live through this contradiction right now. You see the Escort, I see the Mercedes. I see the best of the best BMW. I see a future of me. You see me speaking to 100 people in a little tiny church in nowhere. I see myself speaking to 100,000 people in Asia, right? And I'm getting ready to go into recording where I'll be speaking to this weekend. I'll be speaking to 100,000 people on leadership and success, right? Where did it all start? Where did it all start? Huntertown, Indiana, place nobody knows about, basically, unless you live there. Where did it all start? A little tiny church called Trillicoochee, Florida, the center of poverty in a whole state. Small places birth big people. Small places birth big people. God takes small places and births world changers. Don't despise the day of small beginnings, my friend, but live through the contradiction. Do what Job said, Job 8, verse 7. Though my beginning was small, yet my latter end will increase. I want you to go out into your day and say, though my beginning was small, yet my latter end shall increase. Don't be satisfied. Never be satisfied. You don't ever arrive and say, oh, now I'm not small anymore. No, 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 no. You got to reset your mind. Okay, I've gone to this level. Now it's time to go to the next level. Now it's time to go to the next level. God's got increase on my mind. And never, never, never buy into scarcity. Never, never buy into settling, taking it easy. Don't quit on your potential. That's what it's all about. Quitting on your potential. People quit on their potential. Because potential, remember, I started this week, it's running into your future and says, hey, you can be more, you can do more, you can have more potential shouting. Don't stay stuck. Dream big. While you're driving your Ford Escort, get in it, treat it like it's a Mercedes. Wash it, clean it, wax it, do the wheels. Get rid of your McDonald bags out of the back seat. Clean it up. Watch and see what God will do for you. I'm going to say hi to some of my friends. Did you enjoy this? If you enjoyed this, post yes down below. I want to get my new book. I talk about this in Financial Fast Track. Grab my new book, financialfasttrack.com, or just press book down below. Make sure you share this. This was a good one today. Hey, Mary. Hey, Julia. Don. Good to see you there. Hey, she's the new one. Angela Medina. Good to see you online here. Ricardo. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see Bernard. Good to see Irene. Good to see Destiny. Hey, Destiny. Good to see you. Who else? Who else do we have on? I wanted to say hi to all of you. Okay. Make sure. Hey, Mark's on. My little Nissan is a Cadillac in the bird. Now you're thinking, Mark. Now you're thinking, Mark. That's right. That's right. Now you're thinking, buddy. Yeah. Okay. So see you later. See you tomorrow. Bernard says, by the way, I got my copy of Financial Fast Track on yesterday. Cool, Bernard. Cool, Bernard. Take a picture of yourself. Send it to me, man. Take a picture of the book. Have your wife take a picture of you reading it. All of you who got the book, take a picture of yourself. Put a little quote on there, so I can post it on Facebook. I want to share, spread the love with all my buds, all my peoples. So, all right, we'll talk later. See you later. God bless everybody. Remember, where you're at now is temporary. No, I don't care where you're at. You might think, I've arrived. No, it's the new small place. No matter where you're at, it's the new small place. So oh, this is big. Compared to what? Compared to what? How you think? Oh. Well, what about how God thinks? You think God's looking at you saying, "Ooh, wow, wow, that's pretty big, brother." That's kind of intimidating for me. You believe in that big for your life? Ooh, wow. Oh, come on, man. Get your mind in alignment with how God thinks, right? Get out of your mind and live in your imagination of what's possible for you in the future. Love you guys so much. God bless you. I gotta get out of here, man. I'm blabbering, blabber, blabber. Bye bye.